Welcome to The Explainer. You know, we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions there is. Who are you, really? We're diving deep into a concept about identity, an ancient one, that can honestly change how you see everything.
So, let's just jump right in. Are you more than your body? I mean, really think about that. Is that all we are? This collection of cells? This physical thing that, gets older and eventually stops working? Or is there something else going on? Something that lasts?
All right, to get some answers, we're not going to look at a science textbook. We're going to look into an ancient identity puzzle. It's fascinating. We're going to investigate this one single powerful verse that has a pretty radical answer to that question.
Okay, so our main clue, it comes from the Bhagavad Gita, this ancient and really revered text. Specifically, we're looking at verse 2.19, and what it says is that our whole understanding of life, death, and who we think we are is just plain wrong. So, what is this ancient secret?
All right, to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to do a bit of decoding. The verse is in Sanskrit, right? So we're going to break down the key words to see what's really being said. Let's start with the very first piece of our puzzle.
So, our first word is hanyate. It means kills. The verse starts out by asking us to think about the self, our true essence, as the one doing the action. It's setting up this idea of the self as an agent, even a killer, but it's really to set up a bigger point. Just hang on to that idea, the self as the actor.
And then we have the second term, hanyate, which means is killed. So this is the flip side, right? Can the self be the one receiving the action? Can it be a victim? Can your real innermost self actually be harmed or destroyed? Now that we have these two ideas, the agent and the recipient, the stage is set for the big reveal.
So when you put it all together, you get the core teaching. The verse basically says, look, anyone who thinks the self is the killer or that the self can be killed, they've both got it wrong. They don't understand. Why? Because the real self, that core of who you are, it neither kills nor is killed. It's completely outside that whole cycle of action and reaction.
Okay, so what on earth does that actually mean for us? Well, this brings us to the main kind of myth-busting idea in the text. It draws this super clear line between two things that we mix up all the time, the self and the body.
So here's the big distinction it's making. On one side, you've got the body. It's temporary, right? It's born, it decays, it dies. We all know that. But then there's the self, what's called the Atman, and this is seen as eternal, unborn, unchanging. It's like the silent observer that's just along for the ride of the body's journey. So the key takeaway here is huge. You are not your body. You are the self that lives inside the body.
But wait a minute. This raises a pretty huge question, doesn't it? I mean, if your true self is completely untouchable, if it can't harm anyone and can't be harmed, then do our actions in the real world even matter? Let's take a look at how the Gita deals with what seems like a major paradox.
Yeah, let's be really clear about what that implies. If your true self can't be touched, it would be so easy to think, great, I've got a free pass to do whatever I want with no consequences. And that's the central challenge of this whole philosophy. It's a really deep idea, but honestly, it can be dangerous if you misunderstand it.
The Gita's answer here is actually pretty sophisticated. So first, yep, it confirms the self is untouched. But, and this is a huge but, it says our actions still absolutely matter. They shape our life in this physical world. Which brings us to point 3. You should act based on your dharma, your duty, what's right. And fourth, and this is the real kicker, you have to act without being attached to the results. You do the right thing simply because it is the right thing, not because of what you'll get out.
So, what's the payoff? Why should you even care about this? Well, it's not just some abstract philosophical exercise. The text says that if you really get this, it can completely change how you live. It offers a way to live a life that's beyond fear.
When you really embrace this, it can totally shift your perspective. I mean, once you realize that your core essence isn't this fragile body, you can start to overcome the biggest fear we all have, the fear of death. And that, of course, can lead to this incredible sense of peace. It also makes you more compassionate because you start seeing that same eternal self in every single person. And ultimately, it's about living with more courage,
with more purpose. So let's just end this explainer with a final thought, something for you to take with you. If you really, truly believed that the core of your being was eternal, indestructible, what would you do differently tomorrow? Seriously, what fears would just fall away? How would you live? It's a pretty powerful question to sit with.